Welcome to Through Endurance We Conquer, the podcast where we explore how running helps us grow stronger, physically, mentally, and emotionally. I'm your host, Ashley Mello, and today I'm celebrating 6 months of being sober. I want to share some of my reflections with you on what endurance running has taught me that helped me with sobriety. I didn't even realize that June 13th would mark 6 months for me until late May. For me, the day-to-day of sobriety didn't seem remarkable. But when I looked at the bigger picture of the last 6 months and what it means for me to have stayed sober through it all, it feels like a huge accomplishment for me. I do want to acknowledge that sobriety looks different for everyone. What works for one person may not work for another. We all have very different stories of how we got here. My story doesn't involve a dramatic rock bottom where I had no choice but to get sober. I did have a wake-up call a few years ago, but I definitely could have sank lower if I let myself. My path to sobriety was a lot more gradual, with some slips and falls along the way. I started with staying sober for 100 days before going to a comedy show with some friends. I decided to have a few drinks that night, but ended up with a massive headache. From that time on, I'd be sober for a month or two, here and there, but I didn't stick to it consistently. I also had a few nights where I definitely drank more than I should have. Still, I never had a big epiphany or calling to get sober for good. Instead, it was just one beer with dinner that made me decide to stay sober. That one beer made my stomach feel upset later that night. I didn't throw up, but it was enough discomfort to make me realize that alcohol wasn't worth drinking anymore. Like a lot of relationships, I didn't walk away from alcohol after one big blowout fight. It had been years of us growing apart until I saw that alcohol no longer fit into my life. Even though I didn't have a dramatic rock bottom, staying sober wasn't always easy. In the last episode, I mentioned that constantly moving is easy, but inertia without distraction is what's actually hard. That is very true in sobriety. When you're constantly distracted or busy, it's easy to stay away from discomfort. But when you don't have any distractions and you start to sit with yourself and your thoughts, it's a very hard thing to do. Most of us, whether we have substance abuse problems or not, have trouble sitting with ourselves, or sitting with discomfort in general. That pause there was only 6 seconds. I bet your mind was already spinning with thoughts wondering if your earbuds cut out, or you lost internet connection, or something was wrong with the recording. Now imagine those 6 seconds stretching into hours, and days, and months, and years. It's not easy to sit in discomfort that long. I bet in that short pause, you wanted to reach for the quick fix to relieve that discomfort. Resisting the urge to relieve discomfort is hard. Through endurance running, I've learned to sit with that discomfort. I learned that even if I reach for the quick fix, the pain doesn't actually go away. I can quit a race when it gets hard, or I'm sore, or it's hot, but that only gives momentary relief. Then I have to sit with the shame of quitting when I could have kept going. And I'm probably still sore even though I quit the race early. With alcohol, when uncomfortable feelings or memories come up, I can have a drink. But that only gives me momentary relief. Those feelings and memories are still there. You can't run from your problems, even with running. No matter how much you self-soothe, that wound is still there. While running is a great tool to help you through hard times, It's not a cure-all. It doesn't fix the root problem. At some point, you have to face your problems and heal from them. The first step to healing is acknowledging and feeling the pain. There's no shortcut to avoid pain. You have to face it, feel it, and let your time and presence heal it. Over the past 6 months, my life has had a complete overhaul. I left my real estate career after 10.5 years. I took on a caregiving role for a family member. I had a chronic knee injury that prevented me from running. I had severe depression for months. I went through a 6-week period of adjusting to new medication that somehow spiked my anxiety and deepened my fatigue all at the same time. Murphy's Law had taken over my life, and everything was going wrong. It was hard to watch my life crumbling all around me. All I wanted was to numb out the chaos. I felt so uncomfortable being me. I wanted to crawl out of my skin, but I stayed. Every time I was tempted to drink, I kept reminding myself that it was not worth it long term. It wasn't worth ruining my sleep, it wasn't worth making my mental health even worse, and it wasn't worth the hangover. No matter how uncomfortable I felt in the moment, I knew the temporary relief of numbing the pain today wasn't worth the consequences I'd feel tomorrow. Every time I didn't give in to the craving for relief, I became stronger than the craving. Some days it's very hard to resist, but overall it gets easier to resist. 6 months isn't a finish line. I don't wake up every day feeling like I've conquered sobriety. I wake up every day and make the choice again. But every time I sit in the discomfort, every time I don't reach for the quick fix, I prove to myself that I can handle hard things. And that's really the biggest thing sobriety has taught me. That healing isn't about never feeling pain. Healing is about learning how to be present with the pain without needing to run from it. Just like endurance running, it's not about how fast I get there. It's about staying in it for the long haul, mile after mile, day after day. If you're out here working through your own version of this, whether it's sobriety, healing, grief, burnout, or any other weight you're carrying, I hope you know that every time you sit with your discomfort and choose to stay present, you're building a kind of strength that nothing can take away. If any part of my story resonated with you, or if you're working through something similar, know that you're not alone. And if you ever want to reach out, you can always email me at ashley@mellowrunning.com or send me a DM on Instagram at Through Endurance We Conquer. And I'll have those in the show notes. Keep showing up, trust the process, and remember, it's through endurance that we conquer.